ready when you are. Oh, I guess I can't really take a picture of my phone, but or of any of the thing again because I listened to the audiobook.
Oh, I did that and the ebook.
Yeah, I started the ebook, but Hoopla I realized doesn't do it on your only does on your phone.
Mm,
I was like, hello, and then of course the Libby one came through today. I was
of
like, all
course.
right.
Let's see. Okay, I think we're good.
Don't mind me, y'all. I need to take the picture to announce that we're live.
It's always something.
I know. All right, here we go. Here we
I
go.
got the. I don't know if I don't.
And I'm ready.
Wait.
I'm about to take a picture.
Hold
Nope,
on. Hold it. No. Oh well.
it's not
I try.
working.
I try.
That one's kind of blurry, but that's okay. We're gonna go with it.
That's good enough. Hi, Lauren. Thank you for joining us today.
Okay, not as saying watch now with 4 viewers per.
Oh, let me
Okay.
change the.
Don't mind me, y'all. You know I'm always with my lag in the beginning to freaking share that we're live.
And then I'm gonna.
So if you see me not looking, it's because that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to hurry up because y'all are just watching me type this. Mm, Here we go. And I'll tag Jess and I'll tag you.
Okie doke.
And boom, there we go.
Okay.
All
Hi,
righty, my
hello.
friends.
You did that. I updated our stream information. I think we're good to go.
Okay. All righty, everybody. Well, welcome back to Paperback Cowgirls.
Mm-hmm.
And fun fact, Jess wore this shirt last week.
I
I just
did.
realized that. I wore it this week. We were together when we got it, and then the
Mm-hmm.
hat that I'm wearing, we were also together for.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I guess I'm just me and Jess life experienced out today.
Right. So yes, hi, hello. Welcome to another stream on the Paperback Cowgirls. A reminder that we are at Paperback Cowgirls across our social media platforms. Most of our information is on Instagram, like our scheduling, our upcoming streams, our recent reviews. Um, if y'all have any suggestions or anything, that is all over there. And then we're also on YouTube at Paperback Cowgirls. We've got a couple of our streams up over there and working on getting more. So yeah.
And to recap from last week, we talked about Too Fat, Too Slutty, Too Loud by Anne Helen Peterson. It was such a good talk and it was such a good
Oh, it was
book.
so good.
And so we're breaking out of a little bit of another show because we went nonfiction last week. We've read poetry this year.
Mm-hmm.
We did some fantasy. We did some romance, I think. And now this was kind of like a literary fiction in general terms, but it also
Mm-hmm.
was kind of like a thriller.
Yeah, kind of. Slash like a discussion on the state of publishing and social media. So it was a
And
little bit of
honestly, like,
everything.
and a little bit of like political discourse on
Mm-hmm.
diversity, I guess.
Yeah.
It approached a lot of really good topics. So today we're going to do our first stream for Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Woof,
Say that.
say that 5 times
Yeah.
fast. And we are starting with discussions on Yellowface by RF Kuang, which was published in May of 2023. So if you didn't know, this was huge a couple years ago on
Yeah.
Bookstagram and Book Talk. It's been on my TBR forever. I think it's been on Jess's TBR a couple years too.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, well, why not dust that one off the shelf and read it
Yeah.
now that I guess most people by now have probably checked this off their TBR, and so it shouldn't be too much of like a spoiler.
Yeah, correct. But that being said, again, we're not spoiler free, so if you haven't read it and you want to read it, keep that in mind. And as we get into this, kind of like Alexis said, there's a lot of good discourse on a lot of different topics. But just keep in mind that anything that we say here on our stream, all opinions are always our own. So there we go. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and recap the book. Um, I did not run this by Alexis first, but I think something that we should try to start doing is doing like the. Normally, we'll give you guys the Goodreads like summary of the book, but I don't think that always gives you all of the details of the book. So I think also maybe doing a quick like actual like breakdown of kind of what happens might be good before going like right into what we think on it. So anyway, so we'll do the Goodreads first, and then I'll do like the quick little actual like spoilery synopsis.
Sounds good to me.
Cool. Okay, so per Goodreads, authors Juniper Hayward and Athena Liu were supposed to be twin rising stars. But Athena is a literary darling while June is a nobody. Who wants stories about basic white girls, June thinks. So when June witnesses Athena's death in a freak accident, she acts on impulse, stealing Athena's just finished masterpiece, an experimental novel about the unsung contributions of Chinese laborers during World War I. So what if June edits Athena's novel and sends it to her agent as her own work? So what if she lets her new publisher rebrand her as Juniper Song, complete with an ambiguously ethnic author photo? This piece of history deserves to be told, whoever the teller. That is what June believes, and the New York Times bestseller list agrees. But June cannot escape Athena's shadow, and emerging evidence threatens her stolen success. As she races to protect her secret, she discovers exactly how far she will go to keep what she thinks she deserves. So basically, um, June and Athena both went to college together, English majors, but June is basically like a failed author with a very poor debut novel and no ideas of her own that she really can like give to her agent. And then Athena Liu is this very famous Chinese author with a lot of success. She just signed like a Netflix deal, things like that. Um, One thing that I really enjoyed about this is that June is a very unreliable narrator. So the plot kind of fluctuates between whether June thinks that the two of them were like college best friends who told each other everything to we only meet up once a month because Athena reaches out to me. I don't really know, and I'm obviously just somebody that she wants to brag to. Um, Either way, she's very obviously jealous of Athena's success. And so when Athena dies in front of her, she takes the opportunity to steal her manuscript that nobody else has seen before. She works on it, she edits it, and in her mind, changes it so much from an unreadable manuscript to a work of art that she passes it off as her own, pitches it to her agent. It's a whole thing. She makes the bestseller list. And then again, she kind of goes back and forth between um, like being full of pride in her work and knowing she's a great writer, even though she's taken the book and put in bits of like white saviorism, toned down politics for readability, stereotypes. Um, but then she's also at times like full of panic, guilt, shame, disgust, knowing that she's stolen Athena's work. Um, there's a part where that comes out, and there's a whole like Twitter hate campaign against her. Cancel culture is brought up. She denies it the entire time. Her second hit is also based off of something that Athena had started, so she's obviously using Athena's work and trying to pass it off as her own work. Um, and then at the very end, it comes out that a former like worker at her agency um, gets her to admit that she stole Athena's work, releases this like tell-all manuscript book about it, um, and June is trying to figure out a way to spin that into her own narrative to kind of take that back and then rebrand herself as this like success story. So a lot happened throughout the book.
Yeah, a
Mm-hmm.
lot. This
A
book was
lot.
diabolical.
At no time did I ever know what was going to come next. Ever.
Dude, I literally, so all of you, like, me and Jess obviously text clearly. And so I
I
texted
don't talk
her
to you ever.
starting the audiobook and went, "What the hell?" I was like, I'm like 5% into this book and somebody died. Like,
Let me see. I
I
want
was like, what the hell book did we choose to read? This is crazy.
to. Yeah, yesterday. Wait, what the fuck? This book starts with this bitch's friend dying. And I said yes, and it only gets more wild. And then she goes, "This bitch is changing her name to make her less white." I'm screaming today, bro, this book is wild. This girl is wild as hell. And then it just kind of kept going.
Real time reactions as
Correct.
I was reading this. Like the whole time I literally was just like, what? And then I was like, what
Mhm.
the hell? And then I was like, then what the hell progressively just became, what the fuck?
Yes. But in such a way that like never made me want to like step back and be like, "All right, what the fuck is happening?" It was very much like a what happens next, which was
Oh yeah,
I
I could not put this book down. Like I was like,
no.
wait, I really just want to keep knowing what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very good. It was very well done, and I think like the it's like very obviously an exaggeration of the publishing industry and social media and things that kind of happen, but in the at the same time it's also very realistic. And then like obviously it's a lot of it is played up for theatrics and enjoyability, but like as someone who is very deeply entrenched in like Twitter drama and like writer reader Twitter drama, this shit happens regularly. There's always some writer doing something, especially a writer passing themselves off as POC or in some capacity, and getting canceled for it. So it was kind of interesting to see a character go through the before and after of those moments that I see all the time on Twitter of like getting canceled and getting called out and things like that.
And you know what? This made me think of I was on Bookstagram and a lot of the narratives that Bookstagram likes to drag into everything is really funny sometimes. Um because like I'm down for holding people accountable where it matters, but like I feel like some people reach so much. It's like, how's your arm not hurt?
Yeah.
Like, and so there was this one indie author and I cannot remember for the life of me who it was, and because I didn't really know the author, I didn't read the book, I didn't know the author. And so when I saw a bunch of people that I follow on Bookstagram sharing it,
Yeah.
oh, I'm not gonna read this and blah 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 because this person did this, that, and the other. And I was like, who the hell are they even talking about
Mhm.
first and foremost?
Mhm.
So I go to the author, and the author posts this like general story apologizing or whatever. And it was this, I want to say the author was white and she's a female. And the whole brief like summary that I remember reading was essentially about how, oh, like if it was, this character was depicted a way in which you guys like feel was like not the way that it should have been or something, like
Mhm.
obviously that was never my intention, like blah 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 blah. And literally these people were crashing out over the way that this author
Yeah.
wrote like one minor character is like this like brief scene in like a chapter or two, and
Mhm.
these people were literally crashing out. And I was like, again, I have no issues with you holding people where they belong, where they
Mhm.
belong to be, where they need to be held accountable. But like the fact that people were full blown crashing out and some people hadn't even read the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then some of the people who read the book were like, I mean, yeah, sure, I guess I sort of get what you're saying, but like, this isn't even that serious.
Mhm.
And then people were like, I can't believe this. I was planning on reading this. I'm canceling my pre order. And I was like, what is happening? And then the worst part is, I feel like it was like over an arc. And it's like, that's the whole
Mhm.
point of the arc.
Yeah.
How are you trying to put this author through cancel culture when the whole point of you reading the advanced reader copy is so then you
Mhm.
can tell the author, leave a critical note and say, hey, this might sound kind of questionable to people. Like, it sounded kind of questionable to me.
Mhm.
Maybe you should try adjusting this. Like, that's the whole point of you. Like, way
Yeah.
to completely get written off and blackballed from ever getting handed an arc again because you
Yeah.
didn't even use it correctly. You like exposed this author.
Mhm.
Like,
And
I was
like
like,
we so two things to that of like on the one hand, as somebody who's also like wanting to be a writer one day, the way that people will dogpile on writers for the smallest thing is terrifying. It's
terrifying.
terrifying. There's like one story that I have.
Sorry.
I'm very scared, and like I have to, when I get to it at that point, it's going to be run past everybody I can think of and through sensitivity readers and everything because I'm like, I don't want that to happen to me if I ever get to that point. But we talked, I think, during one of our Hunger Games streams of like um, social media becoming this very weird, like, echo chamber of woke arguing.
Yes.
Because it's like, y'all are just arguing online and dogpiling people and canceling people instead of giving them critical, constructive feedback, criticism, things like that. But also at the same time, you're detracting from actual things that matter. Where it's like, yes, we do need to have conversations about how, characters of certain backgrounds are depicted and certain um, cultures and things like that are depicted. But at the same time, we don't need, 7 YouTube video essays and a dozen different, Twitter threads of the same information when everything else is happening. Like go put that kind of attention and effort into something that actually can like make a difference. And so it was really interesting to see, kind of like I said, see that played out in this story. Um,
Hmm.
and like knowing how quickly that shit can change where it's like this author I've never heard of is suddenly all over Twitter, all over book threads, has, YouTube videos about her, puts out an apology and then disappears off the face of the planet. And then nobody ever talks about them again.
Yeah. So that's a perfect segue. Let's start with the background on Athena because she's obviously the large influence behind the whole story, but obviously her actual physical presence is pretty short lived.
Mhm.
So Athena is, like Jess said with the summary, um, this like super successful Chinese American who went to Yale, has all these stories, is incredibly talented, gets this Netflix deal, is cranking out books left and right, is getting paid thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for her work,
Mhm.
is incredibly well liked, and all this other stuff. And so basically, like to us, reading from June's perspective, Athena is somebody who seems overall to like be well put together, has it all, got invited to all these writing camps, did all these great things, um, and just, everything and is everything that June obviously wants to be.
Mhm.
And really, by the end of the book, which I guess we don't really know, is that apparently, according to Candace, um,
Which Candace is
actually
the
really was.
former literary associate that she tried to get a sensitivity reader for June's book that she stole from Athena and then was fired. And then at the end of the book, she's the one trying to out June for stealing her work and saying, well, you ruined my life, so I'm going to ruin yours. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So that's
Context.
Candace. No, you're good. So by the time we finish the book, Candace reveals that apparently Athena was actually incredibly unhappy
Mm-hmm.
because she'd been trying to branch out from this brand of only writing stories with Asian influences, essentially. And every time they would shut her down, and that the editing company and publishing companies would be like, well, being like this diverse Asian American is like your brand.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, this is where this kind of connects into what we were talking about, like this extreme wokeness is like not always as productive as people think,
Mhm.
because yes, she's Asian American, she's Chinese American, and yes, she wrote a lot of really great stories, but also that's like 1% of her whole personality.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, okay, she's Chinese American, and what else?
Mhm.
She was smart, she was talented, people seemed to like her. She seemed, according to June, like to be fairly beautiful, and also other kind of stuff. She obviously got into Yale. She was obviously fairly intelligent,
Mhm.
and obviously worked really hard. So it's like, why was her brand this one thing out of her entire existence?
Mhm. And to swing it back the other way too, of like Candace makes the very real point that Athena was often the DEI hire of the agency, the publication house that she was writing for. So a lot of times, uh, you know, these writers of certain backgrounds will be hired, but then they'll be kind of pigeonholed as like, oh, well, this is our insert blank here writer. Well, we already
Mm-hmm.
have one of those, so we can't rep you, and things like that. And so you kind of see that Athena was very much pigeonholed as that writer. Like she was the Chinese writer of this publishing house. Um, she was only allowed to write stories like that. But then you also find out she was kind of stealing stories and information and anecdotes from people that she would talk to and would use those in her stories. So you start the book with Athena being this like on a pedestal kind of writer, and then by the end of it you realize she had her own problems, and um, you just kind of see the dirty side of a lot of things.
Not my mom bringing me dinner on the
Ooh.
street.
Hi, mom.
Like, all I heard was psst, and I was like, what? But yeah, no, like it. So, and I think that kind of launches us into June and kind of her perspective of
Mhm.
things. Like, Athena wasn't all quote unquote that original either. Like,
Mhm.
she was Chinese American. Not to discredit her culture or her background or anything like that, but there's like definitely differences between, like, I'm Italian American, Puerto Rican American. I am different from somebody born and raised in Puerto Rico, and I am different from somebody born and raised in Italy.
Mhm.
So it's like even Athena herself was getting the inspiration from other people and other
Mhm.
stories and collectively
Mhm.
putting it together
Yeah.
and then calling it her own. So that launches us into June, who basically did the same thing.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously to the more extreme, because like she didn't know shit
Literally
about
stealing. Yeah.
Americans.
Yeah. I will.
But I mean, really, how far different is it? Not much.
Mhm. I will also say like while we're at the point of the book where June is undergoing this whole like Twitter hate campaign, Athena gets brought into it, with a lot of people saying she stole stories. She would write about, I think, Korean history and Vietnamese history, and people kind of dogpiled her because she's Chinese, writing these other backgrounds. And then it comes out that Athena stole one of June's own personal stories of like
Mm-hmm.
June was nearly raped, or at least questionably sexually assaulted in college, told
Mm-hmm.
Athena about it, and then within a week or 2 weeks, Athena releases a short story with a very similar instance that happened and quotes that June recognizes as things that she told Athena. So it's like midway towards the end of the book, and June is like, Athena was stealing my shit too, so I just did to her what she did to me and what she's done to other people. Um, so I think it was kind of a talking point of like there really is nothing original no matter what form of media you're working in. But also like maybe don't put people on pedestals because you never actually know what's happening.
So so that brings me to when June was like, oh, to Athena's mom, oh, she would have never written something like that. That was my story. And her mom was like,
Like,
yeah, I
I
know she would have
know.
never written something like that. So it
Yeah.
basically alludes to the fact that was she insulting June's writing? Or was she basically saying, like, we know you and your family is like messed up, but like our family, like we were closer than that
Mm-hmm.
kind of vibe, or maybe like a little bit of both.
Well, and the other
And that's kind of where
interesting,
I was like,
yeah, because Athena's mom is always kind of like wishy-washy. Like, it's it's very heavily implied that Athena has some weird family background that we never really know. I think we find out her dad died and then they emigrated from China or like something to that effect. But there's a point where Athena's mom is like, I never want to read her notebooks because I don't need to know what my daughter thinks of herself or her family, and I don't need to know that side of my
mhm.
daughter. So even like the mom has this very idealized version of her daughter. Um, so yeah, I don't know if that comes from like her trying to make herself feel better of like she wouldn't write that because she doesn't have to write that, but also you're very willfully ignorant of things your daughter might have actually felt by whatever she wrote in her notebooks in her writing process.
And I feel like June could have easily came out with a story kind of about the experience, like, you know, yeah, I might have gotten heavily inspired by something I found of Athena's
Hmm.
and she could have lied. She could have been like, Athena shared this with me
Well, that's
before she died,
that's what she said she
and we
was
were gonna work
working
on it
on.
together.
Yeah.
And then she literally could have sat there and been like, and hey, here's this story about an experience I had in college. And then honestly, the whole focus would have ended up being on that. The
Yeah.
whole focus would have been like that she got sexually
Is that
assaulted in college.
spooky? Is that spooky? Come here. Come here.
What happened?
There's a
Oh,
thunderstorm happening, and Indy is very anxious with thunder, so it's big
oh,
spooky.
puppy.
It's big spooky. Yeah, it's spooky. Um, well, yeah, and I like that that was kind of brought up as something that June was trying to work on, and then I can't remember if it was either like the writers' workshop happened or I think the Athena's Instagram started posting again, and she was
Mm,
being like traumatized by that, so she stopped. Um, but it was just they the common like saying within writing is like write what you know and write from your experience. It was really interesting to see that June very much could not come up with any sort of original idea. Either she had taken from Athena's previous stories, or she took what had literally happened between her and Athena and was using the like storm of Twitter and her stuff with her publishing and with Athena and was using that to write a story versus trying to do something on her own. And then at one point she said she had felt reinvigorated from working with students and then realized it was just the students' ideas rewritten. And that was kind of
mm-hmm.
interesting to me of like June kind of talks herself up throughout the book of being a great writer and she knows she's a great writer and obviously she's now got all these accolades and all this success and so obviously she's a good writer, but she's very obviously a bad writer. Like unable to do her own any sort of work.
Which is so funny because like this girl wanted to be so oppressed so bad.
Yes. Yes.
Like she was acting like she'd had the hardest experiences in writing.
Mhm.
And don't get me wrong, maybe she was. But ultimately it was like, girly pop, you could have solved all of this by just being an editor.
Mhm. Mhm.
Babe, you're not original, it's okay. But you're an excellent writer when it comes to technical writing, maybe editing,
Mhm.
and like bringing like expanding and bringing more to life other people's writing. Literally become an editor.
Yeah. Or she was literally given the opportunity to be an IP writer, which is basically like the books, so like the Star Wars books, the Marvel books, the Disney books. Those are IP writers. You were given a story or an idea, and then you take that and do your own thing. And she was like, "I'm not doing that. That's disrespectful." And I'm like, "Babe, that's what you've been doing the whole time.
No,
You've been doing that the
literally.
whole time."
She was killing me. And like the whole time I was like, girl, I get what you're saying. Like I remember watching this whole it was actually inspired by ironically enough, I had to read JD Vance's Hillbilly Elegy.
Oh, I'm so
And
sorry.
I ended up, I think they made like a documentary that was kind of inspired by it or
Yeah.
something that I had to watch in class. And one of the people that they were interviewing was talking about college entry applications and like college entries. And a lot of the book or a lot of the documentary was talking about the very poor, isolated white communities
Mhm.
typically found in super small towns, especially like Appalachian America, where they're, like in like the really small mountain towns and stuff.
Mhm.
And they were talking about how they needed money for school and also their kind of stuff. And they were being passed by on scholarships. And they were like, I have good grades. Like, I did all these things, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't understand why I'm not getting help to pay for school. And a lot of the comparison was taking a similar student of the same capacity, like same activity, same grades, same whatever, but one was white and one was non white. And they talked about just how, like, they're almost kind of getting like a little bit forgotten about within like the culture of like the class war versus like the race war.
Mhm.
And it was really interesting because when I was reading this, it made me think of that interview because that was June. And like to an extent, I got her understanding behind it and like had kind of like understand her point when she was like slightly more reliable and a little less crazy.
Yeah.
Because she was like, being a white female author, we're like this bland, outdated stereotype where like we're kind of all grouped together. We all kind of write the same stories. We all kind of have the same skills. So it's like to a certain extent, I did understand her point of view.
Mhm.
But from the other perspective, as we talked about, Athena was getting pigeonholed into being basically like the DEI author.
Yeah.
Even though she was extremely talented, had other ideas, had other stories, because as we know, she was getting inspired by people she was around,
Mhm.
stories she was hearing, and all this other kind of stuff. They literally were making her write under this brand of being an Asian American. So they were kind of experiencing the same thing, but from different different perspectives. Like
Yeah.
one was okay, we got to capitalize on you being Asian American, and the other one was like, oh, you're kind of bland and like outdated,
Yeah.
and that just drove her insane. And that's where I kind of lost her because I was like, okay, babe, I get your point, I understand, but also like, please chill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you're okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that kind of ties into more of her overall like emotional state, which also constantly
Mm-hmm.
flux between like depressed and kind of manic and anxious and egotistical. Um and again, it all just kind of ties into her being this very unreliable narrator throughout the entire story. Um and I almost wish we would have gotten to see more of her like previous therapy background that she went through. Um, but at the same time, I don't know if like that would have been too much hand holding for the reader of like this is what happened and da 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 versus it's left open to interpretation, which I think was done on purpose because a lot of this book both is and isn't left up to your own interpretation.
Especially because like even in the story of what happened to her and then like Athena's notes on it were like kind of different. And then what her relationship was, like you said earlier, I think you said something about it when you were like, oh, it went from her
Mhm.
being really close with her to them not really talking to, oh, well, she asks me to hang out because in DC it's
Mhm.
hard to make friends or wherever they were at.
Mhm.
And then they run into the ex-boyfriend
Yeah.
and she's like, he's like, oh, I love that you're trying to pass it off and like you guys didn't even like each other like that.
Mhm.
But it was
And
like
like
she
she
literally
had
was the
comments to
last kid
say.
to be with her.
Right.
So then it's like, from Athena's perspective, was the reason why her and June were together not for the reasons that we think? Like, did June actually ask her to hang out?
Mhm.
And maybe it was to get something from Athena, but then because we're getting this from June's super crazy ass,
Right.
we
We
don't
don't
actually
know.
know.
Yeah. So I think that was like super super interesting. Um and even there's a let's see if I can find it. The very like last part of the book um, kind of goes into that. So at one point, um, June gets the idea to take this whole experience and use it as a way to kind of own up to stealing her work, but doing it in a way that made them like collaborators of, well, Athena wrote it and I edited it and kind of reimagined it. And then again, Athena's Instagram gets reactivated. You find out it's Candace kind of blackmailing June. Um, and then at the end of the book, June has the idea to take the experience and instead of admitting to anything, using it to make Candace the villain and do it kind of a story of like this traumatized writer kind of thing. And the very end of the book is talking about like this will become in time my story once again. And it's like, babe, this entire
This is
story's
crazy.
been about you. So you still get
No,
that
this
even
is
at the very
crazy.
end of like what is her perspective on it. Yeah, no, she's batshit. She's psycho. But God, I mean, I feel like Yellowface is so nuanced in everything it was trying to say and everything it was doing, even down to like its characters, which was really interesting.
Yeah, I literally just felt like when I finished listening to this, I was like, this every word in this book feels so untrustworthy.
Mhm.
I don't know what the and then the book's called Yellowface, which is what Candace comes out and says the title of her book is, and I was like,
Mhm.
was this actually Candace's point of view? Was she stalking this bitch the whole
The
time?
whole
Like, wait a
time.
minute, what's
Yeah.
happening?
Mhm. So is this actually, a recounting from June's perspective, or is this the events as told by Candace from like a third person perspective? Oh, there's literally, dude, this is super random. Um, there's literally a comment towards the end here that says the truth is fluid. There's always another way to spin the story, another wrench to throw into the narrative. I have learned this now, if nothing else. That's the whole book. That is the whole book. There's always another way to spin the story, and the truth is always fluid. So like literally, what is the truth within the events of the story?
This reminds me of a conversation that we had on my podcast when we like first started the podcast. We did
Mhm.
it on The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo,
Yeah.
and that's by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And when we were talking about it, we actually had like a whole conversation about how, because basically the book takes place over the course of this chick who's an actress, her life, and the seven marriages that she had. And at first you're like, wow, like this chick was crazy. She was like up and divorcing all these people and blah 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 blah. And come to find out the whole time, spoiler, that she was bisexual this whole time.
Mhm.
And she was in love with a woman, like throughout all seven marriages, basically.
Mhm.
Well, minus like the first two. And what was super crazy was that, like, from the narrative, so basically the chapter's like in present, and it's the interviewer, who's this younger chick, um, interviewing Evelyn Hugo.
Okay.
And it talks about like how she dyes her hair blonde because at the time, like, she needed to look like less Hispanic, and she like changed her name a little, but like not so much that she wasn't Hispanic at all, but like not so much that she was like too Hispanic. And then she got married to literally get to California, and
Mhm.
then leaves him, and then marries this guy that she thought she was in love with, but then he was like beating her up, so she leaves him. Then she gets married again, but it's like this whatever thing. And then there's one that she literally marries her best friend just for image purposes because he's gay and she's bisexual. And then the chick that she's in love with marries the guy that Evelyn Hugo's husband
Mhm.
is in love with. And then they literally would hang out with each other, but like it was so then that way it was okay for them to be with like their
Yeah.
actual significant others. And it was like this whole thing. And a lot of what the themes that she referenced was that a lot of these things done in the background, like there were rumors that her and Cecilia St. John, which is the female character she was in love with, were gay. And at the time, obviously, as we know, that was like a no-no.
Mhm.
And so she literally marries someone to cover them and like obviously sleeps with him. And
Yeah.
then she gets mad. The chick, Cecilia, she's like, "Oh, why would you sleep with him?" She was like, "What are you talking about? I had to.
To
Otherwise,
save you.
people would see
Yeah.
us." And so it just goes to show you like you do not know behind closed doors like what the actual story is. That's why like
Mhm.
all this like celebrity beef or like even like with
Yeah.
some of these authors, you're like, what is them just trying to stay relevant?
Right. Also, bye, Lauren. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Bye, Lauren.
Bye. But yeah, correct. I mean, all of this stupid stuff, I feel like a lot of it could be attributed to just trying to stay relevant. Like, especially TikTok influencers.
Mm-hmm.
That and, like, posts on Twitter, they're half the time I feel like they're rage bait in some capacity.
No, literally.
You know, and it all, yeah, it all just kind of like ties back into this. But yeah, definitely just trying to stay relevant however possible.
And it just goes to show that like June was really willing to do the most.
Mhm.
This girl literally changed her name to Juniper Song. Oh well, Juniper's technically my full name, and Song's my middle name. Girl, you're like 1/16th
Yeah.
Asian or something, maybe. It's like when those people are like, I'm like 1/24th Cherokee. Stop.
Well, there's literally a part in the book where she says like, I know for a fact my grandma said we're descended from Cherokee or something, and I'm like, girl, you and every other white person in America is descended from the Cherokee Nation. Okay, you're not special.
No, literally. I was like, girl, stop.
Hi, Papa. Hi, Papa. Yeah.
That's like me being like, oh, I'm actually such and such Taino, which is like the Native American, like
Mhm.
Puerto Rican people.
Mhm.
Like, no, I'm just Puerto Rican.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's in it, obviously, because that's like the Native Americans for Puerto Rico, but
Mhm.
I'm not gonna walk around saying that.
Right.
Like, what?
Excuse me. Yeah,
I know
correct.
I sneezed too, bless you.
Thank you.
It's just springtime, I guess.
Mhm. Mhm. Um so I kind of want to draw like I guess like a commentary on, so this book was published in 2023, which I don't know why I kept thinking it was 2017, and I was going to make a comment about how last week's book and this week's book were published around the same time but are still really relevant, but that doesn't matter. So it was published in 2023. um but kind of like I said, as somebody who's very involved in the Twitter sphere, unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that is talked about in this book still happens like today. Like it could have happened last week, yesterday, today. Um, oh my god, hold on. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Thank you. He got caught up in the wire of the headphones.
Maui does that too. She'll literally sit there and find the worst spot under my desk
Mm,
because she's like freaking out because the thunderstorm.
yeah, and I'm like, don't rip that out, please.
You're like, please don't do
um,
that.
but I just thought it was super interesting. There were two very specific points in the book where I was like, Jesus Christ, this feels like it could have been written today. Um, so chapter 17 talks about June wanting to see if she can write another story on um the Chinese culture, because she's like, I've done a lot of the research already. I know this. I don't want to do, which she's willing to do the most when it comes to being a success, except doing the actual fucking work to make her a good writer. So she's like, I've done all of this research on Chinese history, especially within like the World War I era. I don't want to do more research on a different topic because I already know everything on this specific topic. So she decides she's gonna go into Chinatown in DC and see if she can't get some like on the ground ideas to inspire her for a new story. So she goes to fucking Chinatown. She realizes it's like, it's fine. It's very gentrified. But at the same time, she's like, oh, I wish I would have brought like pepper spray or like a weapon or something. And there's nobody like really out on the streets that inspire her, that she wants to talk to. She decides to go into a Chinese food restaurant. She doesn't even like Chinese food. Um, orders and like very awkwardly tries to strike up a conversation with the janitor that's like cleaning the restaurant. And she's asking questions of like, what's your name? How do you like working here? Where does your daughter go to school? And so the server comes back out and asks like, is there a problem? What do you want? I think you should leave. And then June makes the comment of realizing that the server thinks she's like with immigration or ICE or something like that, and is scared that she's there to do something to the other worker. And I'm like, first of all, that's crazy. I mean, obviously, I know 2023 was post first Trump, and you still had kind of those ICE worries and things like that. But the fact that it's become so much more relevant in the last couple of months really jumped out to me. Um, and then just to finish the rest of that part of the story, the server realizes it's Juniper Song, and she's like, I think you should just get the fuck out of here because you're not getting anything from us. And then chapter 20 in the book, um, the like publishing editor that June was working with kind of gets embroiled in all of this drama and has to put out a statement saying that she actually champions like diversity, equality, and inclusion. Um, and I'm just like, again, with the discussion on like DEI is kind of crazy considering the last couple of months have been very DEI focused. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so kind of like last week, it's just really interesting that something that wasn't written or published within like this year is super relevant to this year, which is very interesting.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, also at the same time, like, we've like talked about issues like this, like book talk and bookstagram and
Mhm.
like all that kind of stuff and how the rise of it. But we even kind of have talked about AI and how that's
Mhm.
impacting the publishing industry. I mean, the publishing industry has been freaking through it in the last like
Yes.
20 years.
Correct.
From the rise of social media and the decline of people really reading, and then all
Mhm.
these book chains closing, people not reading as much
Mhm. To
anymore.
the opposite.
Um, digital books coming out, and so
Mhm.
and like audiobooks, so people who used to only publish hardcover and paperback having to make this huge investment into digital
Mhm.
books, whether by audio or by, Kindle and,
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff. Into the whole fact of like now we're seeing this huge burst of the community again because of book talk and bookstagram, but
Mhm.
cancel culture affecting everything so much.
Mhm.
This like extreme sense of wokeness,
Mhm.
canceling these authors before they can even start. AI stealing ideas, everybody's book sounding the same. This obsession with tropes, and God forbid if you don't check the boxes of how many
Mhm.
ever tropes. Like, I literally saw this book. I promise you, Jeff. I saw this book. I went to a bookstore in
Mhm.
Chicago. It's the cutest little store.
Mhm.
It's in North Chicago, and it's Latina owned. Like, it was super cute. I
Yeah.
promise you, on the shelf there was this book I was looking at, and I pick it up and I'm reading it. And on the back, the literal selling point of what's supposed to catch your attention, which is the damn summary of what the hell this book's about,
Mhm.
the author or the marketing company or whoever made this dumbass decision put on the back of the book literally the number of tropes that were in it, what was in it, with like a box and like a check mark in it. When I tell you it was like 10
Oh,
different
I
tropes, and it was
hate
like made up
that.
shit I've never heard. It was like basic general summary information made into a trope. Like one was like forced proximity, but then literally one of them was like two friends. Shut the hell up.
You mean friends to lovers the way most love stories go?
I promise you, I wish I took a
Oh,
picture of it because I should have sent it to you and been like, we should talk about this
yeah.
offline. But I promise you, it was the wildest shit I've ever seen. I was like, you literally made the book summary tropes to
Mhm.
appeal to who? Like,
Mhm.
why?
Yeah. And like I know we've talked about this definitely on our book talk stream of like books being written just to check trope boxes. And it's like the plot falls apart or there is no plot and your main points are like grumpy ex sunshine, forced proximity and one bed. And like it hits all of that, but there's no other substance to the book.
None.
I'm like
And I feel like almost like that was Athena's struggle from what
mhm.
we know. We obviously don't know from Athena's perspective because the book is from June's, but I'm like really wondering what kind of almost like limitations did they put on her of like maybe that's why she had to start going to other Asian countries because what else was she supposed to write about?
Yeah.
They literally like so all these people scolding her being like, "Oh, why is she writing about Koreans when she's Chinese? Why is she writing about Vietnamese when she's Chinese? Like why is she writing about the Japanese when she's Chinese?" And it's like little did they know
Mhm.
her publisher was making her do that because
Yeah.
she literally what else was she supposed to write about?
Yeah.
And it's like the same thing with these tropes. Like I could not imagine being an author right now and literally basically being told, "Oh, well, what tropes are in your book?" I don't know. I just wrote the damn book.
Mhm. There's so like kind of speaking of Twitter and its social media. So on the writing side of Twitter, there are things called pitch events where basically up and coming writers will try to pitch their story ideas to see if there's like any community interest or even like agent interest. Like a lot of times agents and editors will be in here and will be like, if I like your post, send me your query, send me your submission. And there was
Hmm.
just one yesterday actually, but it's really interesting to see the way people try to market them of like a lot of the times it's tropes and it's a lot of similar tropes repeated over and over. And I mean obviously at least within like the part of the community that I see a lot, the some of these ideas are so phenomenal. It's like I need this on my shelf right now. Like I need this in my hands. And then other times it's like I don't know what you're going for other than the five tropes that you have listed next to an emoji on your pitch. And like I don't get it. Like that's what it is. But I feel like kind of the TikTokification of reading has kind of gone into this of tropes are very, very easy to market and sell very quickly. Like you have a 30-second TikTok. What do I really need to know? It's Sunshine Grumpy, if that's what you like. It's forced proximity. It is older brother's best friend. And like that's what you need to know.
Hmm.
And it's like if I like those things and those check my boxes, great, I'm picking that up.
And
But I
it's like older brother's best friend. Bro's a character, not a trope.
yeah, literally, that's just
Like
who
they
that
kill
is. Like,
they literally just kill me with this. It's like, dude, what? Like
mhm,
I really like that the I mean, this was kind of ahead of its time because a couple years ago, Bookstagram wasn't even really all that big. Like, it's kind of
yeah,
blown up within the last few years. Like, 2022, I want to say, only so many Bookstagrams really existed by the time 2022 came around. Like, it definitely was like, I think, like a COVID thing that kind of started because so
yeah,
many people were home.
mhm,
And, um, I joined in late 2022. I think you joined either by the end of 2022 or maybe early 2023.
mhm,
And it's like, look at what I mean, that was almost 3 years ago, which is insane. And
mhm,
like how much more it's blown up and
mhm,
how, like you said, I mean, this book being published in 2023 is essentially still so relevant because we're still seeing all these problems where these authors are just pigeonholed. And I really do, maybe I'm just like an empath or something, but like I really do kind of feel for June because she literally
mhm,
drove herself crazy over something that just wasn't her path. And had
yeah,
she just taken 5 minutes to self reflect, like I really feel like she could have flourished as
mhm,
being like even like Athena's author.
yeah,
I mean, editor,
editor,
sorry.
yeah,
Like she literally could have been like, Athena, if we're such good friends, like let me help be your
mhm,
editor.
mhm,
And like I will advocate for things that are non Asian influenced
mhm. Well,
as like your white friend.
and I actually really love that the book kind of explored that too, where June mentioned several times that, growing up with her kind of family situation, she would lose herself in the stories that she would write for herself and the stories she would tell herself. And I think there's a point where she makes a comment about like, um, I don't know who I am if I'm not writing, or something to that effect. And she's like, there's nothing else except writing. Like that's what I've always done, and that's what I know I want to do. But that's also like tempered with, again, the inability for her to come up with any solid ideas that she wants to actually explore on her own. And like I really thought there's a part where she goes back to her mom's house and finds all of her notebooks from when she was in school and writing all these ideas down. I really thought we were going to get like a redemption part there where she finds
Mhm.
herself kind of reinvigorated and re-inspired, and either she's able to take one of those stories and turn it into something larger, um, or even just like that, kind of as like an exercise, gave her a new idea. And instead she says that there is nothing in those notebooks that she can or wants to expand on. And I'm like, so it might have been your saving grace in school and as you were growing up, but if you as an adult trying to find that success that you just had, you can't come up with anything on your own, and even looking back at the stuff that you claim once saved you, which it did, but there's nothing within that that you want to explore again. She, instead of doom scrolling Twitter and like, not like thinking about things, she needed to kind of take a moment to sit back and be like, okay, I love stories, the written word. I love having a hand in the process, but I am not able to find success on my own as a writer. So what can I do instead? There's
Mhm.
ghost writing, or like she was given the
Mhm.
chance, IP writing. There's, like you said, editing. There's literary associates and agents, and so many things that are, again, really hard to get into in the literary industry or the publishing industry. But with the foot that she already kind of had on the door as a writer, she might have been able to try. And I think that's also kind of a critique on like pushing yourself for something that you're not suited for, like blindly, without taking the time to step back and really look at yourself and look at how things are going for you.
And I feel like that goes to show a lot about June and how literally she lied to herself so much that she just
Mhm.
like
She
lived
believed
in
it.
another reality.
Yeah.
Like, and it just showed like how selfish she was. Like,
Mhm.
oh, well, I want to be the writer. Like, I want the success. Like, I could probably live off of this money for 5 to 10 years, but like, I want to live in the
Yeah.
spotlight. And you're like,
Yeah.
girly pop, what is wrong with you? Like, you're barely getting away with this. Just go
Mhm.
get your bag, go ghostwrite, and do your thing in the background,
Yeah.
and you're a okay. Like, who cares as long as you're collecting the check?
Mhm.
But like, she did not care. Like, it goes to show like more of like the jealousy piece with
Mhm.
Athena, where it's like now you kind of question like, did this girl like let this chick choke in front of her?
Yeah.
Did she
Yeah.
even try
I had
saving
the same
her?
thought. I had the same
Like
fucking thought.
she was like, screw this chick, like
Mhm.
she's stealing my thunder.
Mhm.
I'm
I
trying
had
to
the
take her
same
spot. And I
thought
was
by the end
like,
of it. Well, because
what's
there's
happening?
there's also the moment where she and Candace are fighting and she's thinking about pushing Candace down the steps. And I'm like, this bitch is absolutely capable of murder. A
This
thousand
book was
percent
diabolical.
correct.
June was diabolical.
Start to
I was like,
finish.
girl,
Mhm. Mhm.
it was really good. And I think it's definitely like not what I was expecting. I
No.
was kind of a little worried about starting it. I was like, man, like what if I don't really like this? I don't really know what this vibe's about to be. It
It
was pretty
sucked me
good.
in. Yeah. And this,
It was pretty good.
I will give the book talk and bookstagram community their flowers on this one because they hyped this up. I don't quite remember exactly how they hyped it up because we had that discussion too of like how they market it versus what it is. But this was well deserved of the hype. Like this was so good, and I think I went into this kind of expecting more of a like commentary on things and not quite
Mm-hmm.
such like a thrill ride of things. So I really liked that. And like I said, at no point did I know what was going to happen next. So I 5 out
No,
of 5 on this one by far.
yeah, I think this was a 5 out of 5 for me too.
Mhm.
I have to say, and the audiobook was decent.
Mhm.
I think the what book was it? I listened to for my podcast I listened to the I Kishar Wheeler
Mhm.
audiobook and it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't terrible, but it
Okay.
wasn't my favorite. I was like, what audiobook did I listen to recently that I was like, I feel kind of iffy about
Yeah.
this? It was that one. I know I hated the Sunrise on the Reaping audiobook. I actually really did not
Mhm.
like that one. The guy's voice was kind of irritating to me, but
Yeah. I
I love
think
the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes
yeah, audio.
narrator for that audiobook, and then I
Mhm.
really liked this one. I actually didn't mind it.
I think I did this one like literally half and half. Like it was like 46% or something audiobook. Um and then I read I think from about like 46% and finished it yesterday in the car as I was like with my family uh driving to the beach and back. So like I finished over half of it within a day. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was
I think I
pretty
started
crazy.
this audiobook literally like yesterday morning
Yeah.
and finished it like about like half an hour before we finished this. So like that's how
Mhm.
fast I listened to it.
So, very very easy and entertaining, but like critical thinking engaging type of read.
And that's also what I will expand on that a little. It was a very good critical thinking read,
Mhm.
but you didn't feel like you were trying to um what's the word? You weren't like thinking too hard to understand the writing. So the writing
Yeah.
itself really made you critically think and think about a lot of stuff and
Mhm.
approached a lot of really good topics, but you didn't feel like you had to think too much when it came to like comprehending how RF
Yeah,
Kuang
I wasn't like
wrote, which I
wading
actually
through
really like.
stuff trying to get the grasp on it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
you got the point very very simply. It wasn't like very complex
Right.
writing style by
Right.
any means. So that
So,
was nice about it too.
RF Kuang's other really popular book is called Babel, and opposite of this one, Babel is a like historical fantasy epic that deals with
Mm,
like revolutions and colonial resistance. Um, and I know that one's also got a lot of praise off of the book communities. Um,
mm,
so like in general, I think I'd be really interested to check that one out, and especially just to kind of see how that compares to Yellowface. Um,
mm.
but yeah, I put this one pretty high up on my list. Um,
Yeah.
and like I would have to see some of R.F. Kuang's other stuff. But she she's pretty high up there. I like her a lot so far.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. I actually really really liked it.
I think she also did the Poppy War, which was also really popular. Um, and then are you out yet? Catabasis comes out at the end of this year, and I think I've heard some good things about it so far. So yeah,
Oh, she was born in China.
okay.
She immigrated to the United States with her family when she was 4. She grew up in Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
Interesting. She went to Georgetown. She actually majored in history.
Oh, that's that.
So
I can
that's why
see
a lot of
that
her
that babble and that.
that makes sense. A lot of her
Mhm.
writing has a lot of like
Mhm.
historical influence, and that makes much more sense.
I will say, seeing that she was born in 1996, which is she's younger than us and has all of the success. Like I'm definitely feeling like that June. Like ah, that's crazy. She's
Damn.
28 and look at what she's written. That's insane, insane success and like
But you know what?
skill.
Her lore is crazy. She came from China when she was 4.
Mhm.
Like she's got a little bit more, and then she studied history. Like I feel like, and then she ties that into her writing. Like that's pretty
Yeah,
incredible.
well, by far well deserved success and like definitely utilizing her history and her own like educational
And
background.
I wonder if she almost feels pigeonholed into that corner, and that maybe that's where some of the like
That could
influence came
be.
from.
Yeah. That could be. Cause
Like
I.
maybe that was like a little bit of her own emotions.
Mhm.
And if not her own, maybe other people that she knows.
Yeah. Of like that general, you can only write like a certain genre or a certain type of, um, like a certain type of
Wow,
story.
the Poppy War is a Chinese military fantasy.
Hmm.
Ooh,
Which one do we have?
okay.
A priori. That
Interesting.
sounds interesting. And it's a
It's kind
trilogy.
of a vibe.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a trilogy.
Uh huh.
Oh, shoot.
Mhm.
Wait, oh, followed by the Dragon Republic, which was followed by the Burning God. Oh, dang. That's intense.
Mhm.
It came out 2 days after my birthday in 2020.
Mm.
Hmm, that's crazy.
Mhm.
And she cranked these out. One came out in November of 2020. The second one came out in August of 19. And Poppy War came out in
2018.
2018, May of 2018. Dang.
Well
She cranked
then,
them bad boys
well
out.
then, Babel came out in 2022. Yellowface came out in
Dang.
23, and then her next one comes out this year. So like, Homegirl is
Dang, girl.
writing, fucking
She's writing
writing.
her ass off.
Mhm.
You know what? Good
Good
for
for
her.
her. She got
Get
that
that bag.
drive. Mhm.
Meanwhile, I haven't written a word in
Girl,
like I don't
same.
even know how long. Ugh.
me
Girls out here
after
cranking it out.
me after the Twitter thing yesterday, I looked at Tony and I was like, I need you to chain me to the desk and not let me go until I have both of my front running ideas like written and half of my third like gone. Like this is ridiculous.
I know. I've been really trying to like speaking of like writing and just like having the drive and the creativity and like especially like in the world of AI and stuff, like trying
Tell me
to
about it.
bring your ideas to life because like I have so many like small little ideas, but how
Mhm.
to expand them is the biggest struggle, and work just exhausts me mentally that like to
Mhm.
sit down like I know if I just did it I need to do it.
Yeah.
It's got me down bad.
Mhm. I just like I look back on last year in so many different ways all the time where it's like I was unemployed, so I had all this time to do nothing but write. But at the same time, I was so depressed. I could barely like get out of bed, let alone try to be creative enough to come up with, words on a fucking page.
Yeah, like the people that are like, oh, if you don't work and dedicate yourself to writing, but it's like when you're not working and you're not like actively utilizing your brain to do stuff, you're
Mhm.
just sad.
Yeah.
Like that's why they say people who retire, like they have to stay super active with stuff because
Mhm.
if they don't, like that's how your health like starts to decline.
Yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
like,
Yep.
that's scary, man.
Yep. Yep.
Let's go write a book together.
I'm here for it.
Paperback Cowgirls.
I'm here
That
for
way,
it.
like when you're down, I'll step in, and then when I'm
Yeah.
down, you step in.
what are
Tag team it.
the
Published by Paperback Cowgirls. Who's
Hell
that?
yeah.
We'll tell you.
What is there's I don't think it's Lauren Asher. There's a bunch of books that are co-written by two friends, but like the author name is like both of their first names, and it's like Lauren Kate or something like that.
Lauren Ashley?
Maybe that's it. Lauren
Is that the fine
Ashley.
print girl? Girls?
No, Lauren. That's Lauren Asher.
Oh
Oh
shit.
man. Anyway, so they're two friends that co-write all of their books together.
I'm
So
in.
we very well could do that here.
I'm in. Wait, I'm gonna Google it for real. Hold up.
Christina Lauren. That's
That's who
it.
it
The
is?
Paradise Problem. They're two best friends that co-write.
No way.
Mhm.
What?
Combined pen
They did the
name.
true love experiment too.
Yeah. The Unhoneymooners. They did all that. Christina
Christina
Hobbs and
Hobbs
Lauren
and
Billings.
Lauren Billings. The way I'm so shook.
Mhm.
Oh, and the Unhoneymooners.
Mhm.
Wait,
Do you have that?
I love in other words. I think I literally have that on my shelf over here somewhere. Yeah, I do. What the hell? These two people?
Welcome to
Yeah,
Paperback Cowgirls. We discover something new every day. Oh, that's
this is illegal.
wild. Yeah.
Wait, you're
No.
it's two people.
Yes, two people. Your mind is so oh my god. Okay, so what a rabbit hole we're going down. The pair met in 2009 while writing fan fiction online,
Shut the hell up.
and in 2010 became co-authors. Um, they're currently the author of 20 New York Times best-selling novels. Um, yeah.
Y'all are watching our next book get written right here, live on the stream. We're gonna come up with a pen name. I don't know what it's gonna be. Alexis Jess sounds stupid. Jessica Alexis is kind of cute.
Yeah. Christina Lauren works so well though.
Christina Hans and Lauren Billings. That's who they are. We could be like, we used to write supernatural fan fiction back in the day. I got that notebook. I
Oh
will
my
find it.
god.
Dude,
I don't know how
this
true
our
this
inspiration
is.
right here.
I feel like
Finding out live on the stream.
I feel like once upon a time I had read that they like take turns, like they'll uh they'll write every other chapter or something like that, but I can't remember if that was them or if it was somebody else, but
Jessica, that's our origin story. We literally did that.
we
We passed it up in
literally
school.
did, dude. We
We would
would.
pass a notebook in school, bro. You know what? Live on the stream, I'm gonna find it.
Oh god,
Do I have it
don't
out
find
here?
that. Don't find
Or
that.
is it packed away? You know what? It might be packed in a
Oh
box.
thank god.
Damn.
They were not good.
It might be packed in a box,
They
guys.
were not
you guys
good.
you guys are missing out. Yeah, I think it's packed. Whenever I finally move, I'm gonna find it, and I'm gonna read.
Okay.
I'm gonna read me and Jessica's supernatural
Oh
fan
god.
fiction we wrote, and we would pass the notebook in high school.
Maybe let's work on something new and better, and then we can like compare the two, but at least we'll have something to prove, like, hey, we can actually write now.
We did
We know what we're doing. It's not just shitty self-insert supernatural fan fiction.
I'm still holding out.
Oh my
Jen's
god.
Knuckles, when you're available, bro. Hit me up.
Oh my god.
No, he got like 4 kids. I don't want that. That they
Yeah.
need a 2-parent household. I won't encourage.
Oh
I won't encourage a
boy.
broken home.
All right. So with all of that being said, um, thanks for
Stay
hanging out with
tuned.
us today. Stay tuned. We'll see how that develops. Um, our next stream is gonna be on "To All the Boys I Loved Before" by Jenny Han. Um, Originally it was scheduled for Tuesday, but I realized that's my wedding anniversary. Um, so it might be Monday, except I'm having car problems, and I gotta see how Monday has to go, whether or not I will have a car or will have to take my husband to work and then go get him, or vice versa. So keep an eye on our Instagram for whether we will do that Monday or Tuesday, because we don't really have any other option. So
Yeah. Wednesday, not sure about Wednesday. I don't know what Justice schedule looks like, but Thursday we definitely can't because I will be out of town. So
yeah, where in the world is Momo going next? This time it's Europe.
literally the world.
Correct.
Catch me in the same city as Nicholas Galitzine. When I come back a different woman, mind your
Oh
business.
my god. She's literally gonna find the filming location of He-Man or whatever that man is working on currently, and we'll just
Right.
wait there for a glimpse of him all day. I'm calling it right now.
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna wear my Nicholas Galitzine teacher, but like, where y'all seen him? Where's he at?
Have you seen this man?
Like he's lost. Like he's lost.
Yeah.
Where is he? I'm trying to find him.
Have you seen this man? Call Momo.
I'll share any pictures I find of him if I end up finding him on our Paperback Cowgirls Instagram, so you can see my dreams come true.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, either way, we will see you guys next week for To All the Boys I Loved Before. Thanks for hanging out with
Yes,
us
we will.
today. What a roller coaster.
Bye.
Bye!